The title of today's lesson is Spiritual Laziness. Okay, and the reason why I made this is, I begin looking. I've come to realize, you know, my background and my career is a mechanic, and being a mechanic, auto mechanic and aircraft mechanic, kind of it I felt, just looking at myself, I felt that was a good career for me because one of my talents or skills is just finding problems and identifying the exact specific problems. You know, I'm not the most scholarly person, but that's where my skills lie. Just like Brother Adonai, his skill is teaching and articulating stuff and really breaking stuff down real. Okay, yeah, Brother Debrew put in there thinking about going to the Feast of Leaven with the guys in Georgia. Hey, that's a good idea. We'll sit down and talk about that, and because I already got his phone number and I'm in contact with him on Messenger. So yeah, we'll look into that. But anyway, so I guess one of my skill sets is, finding problems and with anything. So what I've seen with our people, and particularly in the Hebrew Israelite community, is spiritual laziness through deception, or whether it's because of Christianity, kind of because a lot of people kind of look to Christianity to figure out how to do the Hebrew Israelite walk. So that's what I've come to. So we're going to get into this because I think it's one of the all-encompassing, underlying core issues among our people. And you could have doctrine and all this stuff, but the reason why you really don't see our people come together like they should is because there's a lot of spiritual laziness. And we're going to get into the why and what and all that in this lesson. So here's a good definition of laziness: the quality of being unwilling to work or use energy, idleness. Okay? And I'm going to get into why it's like this and why it's by design. Because our people, trust me, are not just lazy inherently. A matter of fact, what I've seen, if you look in history and stuff and you look around, you quickly see we some of the hardest working people. So I already briefly alluded to why by design, Willie Lynch and COINTELPRO, and just the agenda to make us lazy and idle and put us to sleep. Okay. Another definition I want to put here is impractical, and that is of an object of course of action, not adapted for use or action. Let me read that again. Of an object of course of action, it says not adapted for use or action, not sensible or realistic, impossible to do, impractical. We're going to get into that one. All right, so we got a verse here for you. It's Colossians chapter 3, verse 23. It says, and whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not unto men. Okay, why did I put that in there? Because one of the big things you see is, I feel like people, they got it backwards. They'll put the most importance on work, on it, literally in this order: work, then maybe school and education, and then maybe family, and then when it comes to the book and doing the things that you're called out to do in the book, and as far as building with other Hebrews, then that's at the bottom of, kind of social friends, associates, people I kind of know. And I feel like they got it turned totally backwards. When it comes to something pertaining to us coming together as a nation and us being people of the book and building with our people, that should be far and above everything. And then work at a distant second. Work and education, all that at a distant second. And family should be a distant third. Because, you know, the family be the worst. You know, they be the most off, you know. So I feel like people got it twisted, all right? So I wrote here, I see people in the truth who claim to have understanding who cannot deal with basic life issues. And this is due, again, to spiritual laziness. I can't tell you the number of times I see people on TV teaching. You look at the biggest Hebrew Israelite groups beefing with each other like two kids. So this thing ain't just locally. I'm talking about on a big level. It's basic things, basic scriptural stuff that I watch people wrestle with it. Pride, relationships, personal insecurities. And the thing is, when you fought through these issues and developed yourself and gotten your mind right with these issues using Yah's word, you can easily spot somebody who's kind of snowballing it and playing, kind of just trying to cover it over with scriptures and quotes. There's a lot of Hebrew Israelite people teaching the word out there, Hebrew Israelite groups out there teaching the word that I watch them and I can see it. And there's a lot of people out there teaching this on YouTube and stuff like that I've stopped listening to because they're off because of one of these reasons or other reasons. Okay? Basic stuff. It's painful to work through these things, but you're called to do it in Yah's word. Okay. So I wrote here, expecting other people to carry your spiritual baggage is lazy and selfish. Okay, I've seen this thing, man. Whether it's in dealing with people one-on-one or, again, watching online. People got these issues they haven't worked through, and they feel like they've cleverly masked them. But they've masked them to the person who's not seasoned in the word and stuff like that. But to somebody who's really done this spiritual work and gotten their mind lined up with Yah's way, you can see it clearly. It's like a big glaring beacon light where, it's like alarm, 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 alarm. You know, you got things you need to work through and you're trying to mask them over. And you see it a lot with a lot of these Hebrew Israelite groups online. I saw one guy teaching, I was watching these guys teach, and it was some group I hadn't seen before. They knew the word, of course. They had the scriptures down pat. They knew where all the verses were at. But this man came up to him. He was a brother. He had written a book. He didn't have all the doctrinal understanding, but you could see personality-wise, he was developed, he was calm, he was collected. And these Hebrew Israelites, they kept trying to make it a battle so that they could crush them and put a notch on their belt. Like, hey, I got another one defeated with my... It's like a role-playing game to them. They got to see how many bosses they could kill, you know, to get their hit points up or something like that. You know, instead of trying to build with this brother and get down to his level, they wanted a debate, a battle so that they could win. And it's just lack of spiritual development. Okay? And that's spiritual laziness. It's being lazy to address spiritual issues. All right, go ahead, brother.
And there's this popular meme that goes around in the Hebrew Facebook community talking about, you know, you just found out that you're a Hebrew, you watched, you know, 2 videos, and now you're a master teacher.
Yeah. And this is the thing. Let me make it real put it real, and I'm glad you said that, because I'm going to make it real plain. Anybody can go and learn this Bible and memorize verses and memorize where they're at. That's the problem. That's what people don't realize. Anybody could do that. You got women graduating high school and college at like 16 years old. Anybody can retain data. That's easy. And that's the problem with these people. They get all this stuff memorized, and then they're like, they don't know what else to do, so they just go out and show it off to everybody. Anybody could do that. That's simple. But applying that junk to them demons in your mind, going into demonic warfare to overcome pornography addiction, and to overcome drugs, and to overcome pride and all these insecurities, that is the weighty matter. That is where the real work is done at. And that's because it's like your subconscious, or whatever you want to call that thing, your flesh naturally has a reaction, a natural knee-jerk reaction to being observed and being dealt with. That's the hard work, okay? Is that change there? You know what I'm saying? I put here, we have become spiritually lazy, and emotionally diligent. So spiritually, folks, they don't want to really do all that, but whatever they're feeling, whatever feels right, they going hard on that. And we need to reverse that.
And I'm glad you mentioned the spiritual and emotional, because coming out of the Christian church, they use spirit as another word for emotion. So when you're in the service and everyone's shouting and everyone's dancing, the spirit's really in this place. That's not the spirit. That's your emotion.
Yep. I'm telling you. And Brother Dow, he put in there, we need to pull it together as a people. What is coming? We don't want to be standing alone in fighting must cease. And he's and way to bring that up, Brother Dow, because that was my mindset when I came up with this message, and I got a series of other ones coming after this, is trying to get to the bottom of why we got these situations. People they don't have basic skills to deal with conflict and to voice how they feel and all that. And that's once that's done, everything else automatically falls into place. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, we need to reverse this. We got to be diligent spiritually and kill them emotions. Don't get it twisted. Emotions are not a sin, but to be led by them blindly is. Okay? I wrote here, and let me pull it up so you guys can see it. There we go. Worldly love is the worship of your emotions. Biblical love is the worship of Yah's, is a worship of Yah through his word. Okay? So that's what that is. All right, and here's a definition of diligent. It says constant in effort to accomplish something, attentive and persistent in doing anything, done or pursued with persevering attention, painstaking. This is how people do with their careers when they chasing their money. They don't do this with the word. They not doing this as Hebrews trying to build with their people. It's the exact opposite.
You got Hebrews at my age watching was Dragon Ball Super.
Dragon Ball what?
Dragon Ball Super. So
you talking about, Dragon Ball Z. They got a video. Dude, they got a video on YouTube. Type in a boy goes full Super Saiyan. Type that in YouTube and watch that video. And I know that dude don't got a girlfriend. I know the dude's on there going like, okay, I'm gonna do it. Here we go. And I'm like, I'm like, wait, what's he gonna do? And he just go, ah! That's all the dude does. And then you go to like, I guess Dragon Ball Super or Z or whatever it is, because there's like a lot of black people who like this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you go to Dragon Ball Z, and I guess Dragon Ball Z be like, ah, and all this fire comes down and all this stuff. Man, folks' minds is blown, dude.
And you got Hebrews that know that they're Hebrew, my age, into Dragon Ball Super and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, you know all this detail about all these cartoons, you do, but you can't even read the word.
Man, watch that video, man. Y'all gonna be dying laughing when y'all see that, man.
Feed stopped.
Okay, let me see. All right, we good here. You might need to reset your feed. Somebody said the feed stopped. You might need to reset your phone because it's good here. Okay. All right. But I'll keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it if you could on one of your devices. Okay. Yeah, y'all gotta watch that video, man. It's gonna be in one of my videos eventually, cause that is just sad, man. I know that dude ain't getting no puss. He just struggling. Hey, all right, here we go. So diligent. That's the definition of diligent. I don't see that. I see it with some of the groups out there. A lot of people are hard on ISUPK. Like, I don't like the way they beef with IUIC, but I can say without a shadow of a doubt that they are diligent with that word. They trying to walk it out. I can say that for sure. You cannot say them brothers ain't diligent. You know what I'm saying? All right. So we got Proverbs 28, verse 26. It says, he that trusteth in his own heart is a fool. Your emotions. If you trust in your emotions, because the word emotions is not in the Bible, that concept came around later on, but he who trusts in his own heart is a fool. But it says, but whoso walketh wisely, he shall be delivered. And how do you walk wisely? Keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. Walking in God's word. And we're going to break down what that is as we get further in this lesson. How does spiritual laziness manifest outwardly? So what's the outward appearance of it? Okay, and we're going to go into a couple examples of how it manifests outwardly. Okay? So, Makisha put, don't lean on your own understanding. And that's whether it's your own logical understanding or whether it's your emotions where you feeling some type of way and you just go with it. Because you see a lot of our people, that's a big one with our people. Okay? So what we got here is James chapter 2, verse 14 through verse 26. It says, what doeth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he have faith and have not works, can faith save him? If a brother or a sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, depart in peace, but ye warned and but
Be
ye warmed and filled, notwithstanding ye give them not those things which are needful to the body, what doeth it profit? Even so, faith, if it have not works, is dead, being alone. Yea, a man may say, thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works. Okay? And it's like, for instance, with me, it's like if I drive through, when I like these news articles I read to you about these people being raped and molested, and looking at the condition of our people, it's like I'm moved to do something. That's book. And when I say move to do something, not just sit here and do these videos either. We are trying to organize this group so we could begin going downtown Jacksonville and begin talking to these people and getting on board. But it's like people are so spiritually lazy, they don't realize that it's so practical of what we need to be doing out there.
Right.
Dudes just want to quote scriptures and think they walking out the word and they ain't doing nothing.
And impress people with what they think.
Yeah, and impress people with knowledge. You don't see people really looking to move to really put nothing tangible together. They want to sit back. Man, that's what got me frustrated. And it's like I was talking to Brother Anahu, man, I'm about cutting the fat and I'm about that action. You see what I'm saying? And I'm one, I always, because it says stay vigilant. And I'm very vigilant. And when I say stay vigilant, I'm vigilant with what's going on up in here. Between these ears, I'm vigilant with what I'm beginning to get on autopilot with. Because you could easily get lulled in to not in action. That's what happens to these people. But we need action. And if it's just me and Adonai making the action happen, or it's just me by myself or whatever, something needs to happen. Because here I am now, I done reached out. We done been in this thing for like 3 or 4 years, and things are moving forward. But like I was talking, me and Brother Dow were talking, we see what's on the horizon. I know a lot of y'all watching, y'all see what's on the horizon. We can feel the pinch getting put on, whether it's financially, economically, spiritually, nationally, however you want to say it. You can feel the wicked pressure beginning to increase. And it's time to make stuff happen. That's how I came up for Purim. I ain't gonna sit here and hand each other a bunch of, I give somebody a little gift, but let's go down there and give these homeless people some gifts. Let's do that. That's gift giving. I don't need nothing, but somebody go down there, that'll be the gift you could give me. Come down there and let's see what we could do. I remember me and Coy, me and my wife, we driving through downtown. We were headed to the doctor. And we seen this dude, they had just checked him out the hospital. He was in a wheelchair, and the only way he could move it forward was using his own feet. And he trying to get across the street. He was holding up traffic. And I was like, you know what? Boom. Get out the car, push him across, tell him that you the people of the book, you need to get in the word. That's the only thing I had time to tell him. Maybe that changed life. But these people... What's the scripture that says the workers are few, but the
harvest is plenty, but the workers are few.
So there's plenty to harvest, and I'm tired of wasting my time dragging my feet. So that's why we doing our Purim that way. You know what I'm saying?
And that's culture. Our culture was a huge part of our culture. You go through the script; it talks about giving alms.
Yeah.
And that's part of, taking care of the widow, taking care of the orphan, and taking care of the foreigner. That's among you.
We got to make it happen, man. This
Because whether you do it or not, you're going to be judged for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And a lot, like, people try to make the book complicated because they spiritually lazy. They trying to, because if they don't complicate it forces them to have to get out and put this thing into action. Well, we going to put it into action.
And even though I appreciate the brothers that are out on the street corners and doing their thing, but if that's just it, you're out on the street corner cussing people out, but you're not actually helping the people that need help.
Yep.
I mean, you're still falling a bit short.
And I can say that a bunch of the groups are just out there to make videos and grow their group, but there's a couple who be out there, and I know I could attest to that they're putting in work. That when people get out of prison or when people are on drugs, they take them in, give them homes. But some of the other groups don't. And I know that's why there's a lot of beef between some of those groups over that. But this is something Brother Adonai sent me, and it's so relevant. It's like some dude posted this comment, I guess, on Facebook. It says, "Am I tripping, or are lazy people always talking about being spiritual?" That's so true. It's like folks be trying to spiritualize stuff, and it's really this, and deceive themselves and end up doing nothing. The dude downtown end up starving or going crazy out his mind because ain't nobody doing nothing. They just spiritualizing stuff and trying to expound and show off what they don't know. You know what I'm saying? All right. So this is 2 Corinthians chapter 4 through 7. It says, but we have this treasure in earthen vessels. See, this is one of the ways people be trying to spiritualize stuff. I just put an example of how they'll try to do verses. It says, 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 7, it says, but we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of God and not of us. So the reason I put that there is people will take this out of context and use it to say, see, we don't need to do nothing. See, God gonna do it. We just need to. This is one of the verse, but what this is really saying is, look, we got God's word in us, so just use that. You know, when you read it in context. But people cleverly take verses like this and try to kind of subtly use the verses like this to justify doing nothing in a kind of a subtle way.
And a lot of that, well, some of that comes out of, the church.
Out of Christianity.
Because the church teaches you all you have to do is say a magic prayer and you go to heaven.
And seeing a lot of that transferred right over into the Hebrew Israelite movement. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it transferred right over into that.
And then this whole idea about Yahushua coming back and delivering us. So some people are just sitting and just waiting for Yahushua to come back. Where Yahushua said, "Do work." Our
work is what's gonna usher that in. People at this time, like this is why maybe the Spirit's on me to be saying this, and other people saying it. It's time for people to stand up and look at you. You guys just saw the current events we put out. Like Makisha up there living in this stuff. Me and my wife and me and Brother Dow, we were in the military. We see it coming, and it's time for me to just voice this thing, because I see people they Hebrew Israelite niggas. They just niggas that they put Hebrew Israelite in front of their name. And that's it. And, it ain't that type of party over here in, what I'm saying, what I'm,
And the thing about it is, we might not get it 100%. But as long as we're on that path of returning to our culture,
exactly,
we're lessening the shock value of when Yahushua actually returns.
Yep.
That learning curve is cut short, because a lot of people are going to be just. There's going to be too much shock for them.
Be like, you mean I can't wear my J's? I can't wear these J's, huh? It's Jordan here, Hebrew, It's like dude's gonna be like Brother Adnan said, man. It's gonna be a shock for them. You better. I'm telling you, man. That's a good point. Okay, I put here. Pain is usually what wakes people out of their spiritual slumber. Hurt feelings can be a good thing. It was for me. You must respond correctly to these situations. So, like in my life, in my experience, can you quiet them down? With my life and my experience, what happened? One of the big areas were relationships. I struggled with relationships, and my flesh was making up all these excuses till I finally realized, look, you just ain't a real man. You got to man up and begin to learn what a man was. And lo and behold, that eventually, over a long process, led me to the truth, led me back to God's word, and led me to just seek it all the way out. And in that journey, it developed me into a real man, and brought a beautiful wife into my life, and kids and all that stuff.
Praise
Yeah. But in going through that, you see people who they just making excuses, and they're not wanting to face certain things because you can see it. All right?
Yeah, it's one of the things that I say is, you who is not concerned with your comfort or your happiness, he's concerned with your character.
That is heavy, Brother Adonai, bringing it out heavy.
Because it's one of the things.
That is heavy, bro.
One of those outside books is called Shepherd of Hermas, and basically it's this man named Hermas, and he's dealing with his shepherd, which is actually his guardian angel.
Mm-hmm.
And it talks about how this guardian angel kicks his butt to get him correct. He allows all this stuff to happen in his life so that he can get correct.
Well, that wouldn't fly in a Christian church, because it's love and hugs and kisses and homosexuals and all that stuff. Like, that don't fly with Christianity.
Yeah.
But when you look in the book,
That's how it is. And, that you talk about that pain, that hurt and stuff, and, getting attacked from this side, getting attacked from this side, and waking up. Why is this happening to me?
man,
That's how it
and
works.
that is what I use when it came to relationships, and also in another with my job, with dealing with the racism getting passed over with promotions and not understanding. And I used to be there asking, what the heck is going on? Why? Why? And when I'm talking about, I got my butt kicked because we hard-headed. We are hard-headed people. It take that to wake us up. That's real. But you run into a lot of feminized people. It's like Hebrew Israelites teaching online stuff that I come across, teaching a soft doctrine.
And we run away from pain.
And we run from pain. You gotta learn to like pain. Like one of the things that will get you battle hardened is fasting. Like, there was a whole maybe month. It was more than a month, a whole 3 months or something, where I went on a no sugar, intermittent fasting diet. Try that. You basically limited yourself to meat and vegetables. And if of course when you're eating that way, it takes meal preparation. You got to fix up all the food every meal. Some meals you won't feel like it, so I just skipped the meal. Go to bed a little bit hungry, and as I did it, as the weeks went by, it got easier and easier, and my belly went away. And it tough. You would be amazed at how that toughens you up. Another heavy one. Look at this right here. Try wearing these fringes out. Just go to Walmart. Like, for me, that was a big one. I haven't felt self-conscious or whatever it's called. Kind of, what's the word?
Shy?
I guess shy or self-conscious in forever. Because I don't mind. Like, most of the time I don't care. But this toughened me up to another level. This is why a lot of people come up with crazy doctrines not to wear fringes. I got a whole bunch of shirts, and I bought a whole long length of fringes that are going to begin to get sold on everything I got. And it's beneficial because, number one, the purpose is for you to look down, and it reminds you, not to sin, to keep the laws. But the other big benefit you find is it helps you identify people. That's how Brother Adonai here, that's how they found him. Mm-hmm. You see the way he dressed, he was dressed like that. Like, on our way here today, I seen a crate on the side of the road, and I had him go grab it, and we were at a stoplight, and I looked over because there were some white folks in a pickup truck. Man, when he got out that truck and ran to get that crate, they thought he was Allah Akbar, boom! Like that's who they thought he was. They were like, everybody looking crazy, like, what is he gonna do? You know? And he grabbed the crate, got back in the car, and them folks was looking crazy. You know what I'm saying? I love it. But anyway, let me get back on. I don't want to fall behind on here. So yeah, but pain is a good thing. Christianity and society doesn't. It's the exact opposite. They try to protect you from pain. Brian, now I'm gonna let you read.
Okay.
All right.
My brothers, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith works patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfected and entire, wanting nothing. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of Elohim, that gives to all men liberally, and upbraids not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavers is like a wave of the sea, driven in the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of Yahuwah. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
Okay. So, I mean, it pretty much said all there. But at the beginning it said, count it joy to be in temptations, to be under pressure, to be in them stressful situations, and understand and when you're in those situations, get in your word, which I'm gonna show y'all some places you could go to figure out any situation when you're in these difficult situations, whether it's in a relationship or dealing with certain people or at work. Those are good situations, because those are situations where you apply the word and trust on it and see how efficient it is and how good it works. Okay. I wrote here, Yah's laws show us where we need improvement at. Okay. This is Revelations chapter 3, verse 19. It says, as many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, and repent. But a lot of people don't repent. They be going through problems, there's issues, and their flesh makes up clever excuses of why they're going through it. Mm-hmm. That was me for years when it came to relationships and when it came to work and the problems I had at work and stuff like that. Okay?
And that's the thing that that Yah wants us to understand is the reason that he disciplines us is because he loves us.
Yeah.
You know, a man disciplines the son that he loves.
Yeah.
So there's an end product that he desires.
Yeah.
So he's going to correct you and allow whatever pain into your life to get you in that direction he wants you to be at.
And this is Psalms chapter 19, verse 12. It says, who can understand his errors? Cleanse thou me from secret faults. Okay? And I put that in there just to show people, look, there's stuff going on in there. There's stuff you're doing that you are not aware of. Mm-hmm. And you got to pray for Yah to reveal that stuff to you and help you through it and cleanse you through it. And with zeal and take action in getting that stuff brought out. Man, when people come around me and I don't hear them, because like me, I'll let you know that I'm in process. I'm working on stuff. I struggle with stuff just like other people struggle with stuff. But you get people teaching this, and they're coming from a mindset, a subtle subliminal mindset of perfection when they speak the word, when they preach the word to you. And you can feel it inside when they're talking to you but you might not be aware of it, but you can feel it that they're coming subliminally from from a mindset of, hey, I'm perfect and you need to get on my level and stuff like that. And you got to be aware of that, because them people you need to probably step away from, because they off. Brother Dow, he put in there, the Most High understands no pain, no gain.
Yes,
I feel you on that.
comment.
Look at what Yahusha had to endure for us. The kingdom does not come without price paid. We must be active spiritually. That's spot on, Brother Dow. Yeah, and that's true. But it's like, and the message of Christianity is, oh, he died for your sins so that you don't have to do anything. You just acknowledge him, and you could be a wicked homosexual murderer or whatever, and you're gonna still be good. You know, that's the program, and that's why everything's messed up. That's why the current events that I read today look so bad. You know what I'm saying? Okay, this one here I put, so when you look at things, it's imperative that we become spiritually diligent. We have to sort through what's going on in that space between our ears. Okay? That you 90% of this word is you using it on yourself. Because once you do that, you can just you've got it internalized, and you can break it down, you know, on a high level. You know what I'm saying? And really edify people. So Makisha put in here, true indeed, Brother Dow. Any tips for fasting? I have been doing a day or two here and there, but I am trying to elevate to big girl status. Any tips? Well, like I said, you try this fast. Try no sugar, no soy, and no carbs. Try that one. Because you might be going to school, or you might be in a job where you can't just go without eating, but go on a fast like that and watch what it does to your mind. Watch how your mind clears up. Right. You know what I'm saying? Intermittent fasting, it's called intermittent fasting. You can read up on it. It's a type of diet where you skip 2 meals and then you might have one, or you'll have 2 meals and you'll skip one, and it can be, you could do it in a convenience way, where you're in a rush and you just skip a meal. And now science is finding you should do that from time to time to let your digestive system reset. And what they were saying is, when you do a fast anyway, what happens when you stop eating, one of the things your body does is all the old blood cells in your body consumes them and recycles them. So it's healthy on a whole bunch of ways. But I say, outside of just doing a straight up fast, try the no sugar, no carbs, no soy fast. And when I say no carbs, I'm talking about any of those foods that are in boxes or bags, like, because you have to get carbs, but I'm saying get your carbs from vegetables
Or clean eating.
or fruit.
Clean eating.
So, but those are some of the those are some of my ideas. You know, other brothers have, I'm sure they have their own.
Well, you know, typically talking about a fast specifically for spiritual reasons.
Yeah.
Typically, we would do a day, for example, for us Hebrews, a day starts at sunset and goes to the next sunset. So it would be no food, no water for that day from sunset to sunset. So when you look at, like, for example, in the Apocrypha, the book of Ezra, you know, the prophet Ezra was fasting for some answers. He was asking Yahuwah some questions. He was fasting, and when he went through that fast, Yahuwah sent messengers to answer his questions, and then the messenger would tell him, okay, now fast for another certain amount of days, and I'll answer your next question. So, and that's what I've in my experience with fasting. Usually, I would do a complete fast, which is no food, no water, and during that time, your brain just gets focused. And when you start reading, if you're like reading the scripture,
it just sucks it in.
Yeah, it just the connections and and words open up, and it's like it's just something, your brain works differently.
It does, and because for me, when I went on a fast to get over lust and to get over pornography addiction, and that's what I did. I prayed and I fasted and I was seeking the Lord. When I say seek the Lord, I was reading my word. I was looking for the answers to stuff, to certain questions in the word. So it's real. It's real, and it's like you. And this is, I work a job. I work on airplanes, so I'm climbing around airplanes. So I'd eat one meal a day, and but it was, you could feel it, like you were, something else was going on there.
Yeah, if you're working or doing a lot of physical activity, it's difficult to do a complete fast.
Yeah, so you gotta be wise with it. Okay, so we got Proverbs chapter 28 verse 25 through 26. It says, "He that is of a proud heart stirreth up strife, but he that putteth his trust in the Lord shall be made fat." Okay, if you walking in Yah's way. "He that trusteth in his own heart, in them emotions, is a fool. But whoso walketh wisely, he shall be delivered." And Brother Adnan, who brought out something good to me a while back, just talking about where the Bible, it might not say, hey, people who don't want to listen to what you're showing them stuff, but the Bible calls those people fools. Like a good lesson I'm be doing here soon is one on fools, because in the English understanding, I understood fools to just be like a clown, somebody who's acting silly all the time, but that's not really what it is. Mm-hmm. Okay? A fool is one who lacks wisdom, who don't want to get understanding and stuff like that. And that, to me, that was a huge one, because I used to rack my brains trying to figure out how to get people to understand something I'm showing them, when come to find out they're just fools. Leave them alone. The book tells you leave them alone. And if you don't leave them alone, you're sinning. Mm-hmm. That's a sin. Trying to force something down somebody's throat is a sin. Me and Brother Dow were talking about that yesterday, when we were talking. All right.
And another thing going with this verse is, mm-hmm, people like me coming out of the Christian church, mm-hmm, I was in the Christian ministry and all that kind of stuff. When you come into the truth and the true understanding, you start reading these scriptures with an understanding, a lot of it does not feel good. It goes against that emotionalism of Christianity.
Real. That's real, man. It does not feel good. I was telling Brother Dow yesterday, you gotta, when you come into this thing, and he agreed too, and I've said a lot, most people aren't ready and aren't willing to question every single thing they've ever been taught in their whole entire life. Because that's what this Bible does. Because Satan has turned everything completely opposite. And it feels normal. And then you start really reading this word for what it's worth, and it's the exact opposite of everything you know. Mm-hmm. So what I have here, as far as getting your mind right, learning how to deal with a lot of these situations, what I always say is a good place to start is the book of Sirach in the Apocrypha. Samantha, grab the red book right there, the Apocrypha. But that's a good place to start. Proverbs and the Apocrypha, particularly the book of Sirach, or you call it Ecclesiasticus. Mm-hmm. Okay? And what I did here, I went to, I know it's a Catholic website, but what they had here is just an outline of what's in the book of Ecclesiasticus, or the Apocrypha. It's like a book of wisdom. It's just like Proverbs. It's like the book of Proverbs on steroids. In this book, what I got here is kind of an outline of what's in there. They kind of categorize it a little bit, but it talks about stuff like alms for the poor, humility, okay, blessings of wisdom, miscellaneous advice, relations. So it talks a lot about relationships, choice of friends, advice concerning women, how to choose the right woman. And it's funny because I had already studied a ton of stuff about women, and then I come to find out I could have just read this thing and it was all in there and even clearer than what I've been taught and over and above what I already knew. Talks about pride, deceptiveness of appearances. This book, Sirach, breaks down into everyday, things you're dealing with. It shows you how to navigate this minefield of this wicked society and the people in it. It talks about dealing with family. Anything you could think of is pretty much in Sirach, Proverbs, and it's in the rest of the book. It's in Torah, but this just breaks it down into more digestible chunks and into more specific stuff.
And another point that in the book of Sirach, in the beginning, this is something that a lot of our Hebrew brothers that grew up in America speaking English, they don't want to deal with. But the beginning of Sirach, it talks about how when Hebrew is translated into other languages, it loses so much of its power.
Yeah.
But, we got our brothers, this, public fool system that, a lot of our brothers, they don't have the skills, the reading skills that they should have in dealing with this word. And that's something that if we don't have it, we have to work on it.
Yeah.
But so many, they don't want, they try to avoid that thing. And they, you have, certain camps are saying, oh, the King James is only official word of God. And it's like,
yeah,
King James is a translation.
No, yeah. And I would say this, the reason why they say the King James is because a lot of the translation issues you can kind of narrow. It's more there's less discrepancies than some of the other translations. But if you read a New English Standard Version to get better understanding or break down stuff, as long as you understand where some of the, you know what I'm saying? Because like in some of the other versions, instead of saying a sodomite, which is a homosexual, they call them temple prostitutes. So that's why they push that so hard. But yeah, you ain't going to hell because you ain't got a King James, Bible. Understand that.
And the thing is, well, if we're coming back to our culture, then yes, you start where you're at.
Yeah.
We grew up in America. We speak English, but now you got that basic understanding. Now let's go back to our own language.
Exactly. All right, I wrote here, we must become nation-minded and not self-minded.
Yeah.
Okay?
There you go.
So a lot of people out there, I see it a lot, they're not even family-minded. They're more thinking about what they want and them and the immediate little group, and they're not thinking about trying to really come together. Like, you could just see it in the actions and the moves they make. They're not trying to be an asset to the team. You know what I'm saying? They just, they're not nation-minded, All right. So, what do I got here? All right. Looks like part of that's cut off. I guess we just gonna have to deal with it. Yeah, it's fine. Anyway, you can't see the top of that slide, but we'll be all right. So a large part of spiritual laziness, and like I said, I'm going into why we are in the condition we're in. You know, we know these curses are upon us, and I'm going to just point out even recently why and how. A large part of spiritual laziness is due to a lack of real men in the home, coupled with with a feminized society and media. You saw, you know, they pushing openly homosexual rappers now. There is an all-out war by media and society to kill the protective male image. So the image of a man being a man, and somebody, really think about this. It's a joke to say, hey, you need that man for protection. Like in society, they do everything they can to fight against that concept of a real man. All right. If you weren't raised by a real man, you don't even know that you don't know. And I'm telling you this because, like, if you weren't raised by a well-rounded biblical man, which almost nobody was, and then you go to black folks, and you weren't even raised by a man, period.
Right.
That's part of why you got all these gayfers running around here. All right? But it says, if you weren't raised by a real man, I'm telling you, I deal with so many brothers, and because for years, I didn't know that I didn't know. I didn't know why I was struggling with a lot of stuff, relationships and all this other stuff, and identity and all this stuff. I didn't know that that's why I was struggling with that. And I'm telling you, and I've seen men, I've worked with men, I've met Marines and other people who were raised by only men. And let me tell you, these are the easiest dudes to get along with. And I've met a bunch of dudes who were raised by women. And they were the toughest people to get along with because they dealing with stuff like a woman and they don't even realize it. Okay?
Feminine nature.
A feminine nature, exactly. Men raised by women do not know how to handle masculine authority. Now, this is one of the big things. And see it as evil and wicked and fight against it. And that was me. That was me. When I went in the Air Force and the military, that was me 100% wrestling with that thing. Just fighting and just going against stuff and getting mad. That was a big problem with me. That was a big struggle that I overcame. Like now, I don't mind authority. I like authority. You know what I'm saying? And at work, somebody come tell me something, whether he's a co-worker or a supervisor, whether he's at my level or not, I'm just like, yeah, I got you. I'll do it. There's a servant mindset. And guess what? In having that mindset, people look to you as a leader. But when you trying to steal power, people don't want to deal with it. It said, I put, they deal with issues in a feminine way. A lot of men struggle to recognize this. And I emphasize struggle. Because let me tell you, I never, ever even knew what the heck it was. And then now, hindsight, getting a little wisdom, being in the word a little bit, now I see exactly what it was. But it's like, if y'all chose not to reveal it to me, I would have just banged my head against the wall for the rest of my life. Because it's not obvious. And a big part of me doing this video is I challenge men out there to question, look at yourself. Analyze what's going on in your life and stuff like that. And look where these patterns are. So, because this is a big part of this gay Greco-Roman European culture. It's feminizing men. I just showed you now we got gay rappers. 2018. They out. And you watch, it's coming. It's like, man, it's sad. All right. So, all right. So what I put here, they have brainwashed us through the media to desire one of these two careers, either entertainer or a criminal. Real talk. They got Cardi B. They want the women to be a stripper. And here come a little prophecy from Mike. You watch in the near future, female rappers, that the new push is going to be for women to desire to be hookers. That's next. Okay? Because now all the women want to be strippers. And that's real. That hit close. Like, you know how close that hit to home core with our families. So that's real talk. Like, these women want to be a stripper. Because, hey, Cardi B was a stripper. She made it big. She pushing it. You know what I'm saying? And then entertainers. You know, everybody want to be a rapper. You got a better chance being a blow pop rapper on a blow pop lollipop than you do going out there being a rapper out here. Unless you're willing to, you know, take it in the butt and lose your spirit. Because that's how you got to make it. And then when you do get up there, you're just going to be destroying your people. But this is what they got you wanting to be. And it's so unproductive. And don't even and in the sports, because we're going to get into the sports is the worst one. I put your chances of succeeding in these career fields are almost zero. And your chances of positively affecting your nation is zero. Okay? These careers are dead ends. They are systems to diffuse potential profits. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to prove this in a couple slides. I'm going to prove exactly what I'm saying. By design, they must let a person, you know, a couple people succeed from time to time to keep hope alive, to keep you chasing this carrot. The people you see making it, Cardi B and all that, you know, Cardi B was a stripper. She made it. Yeah, but you going to be a crackhead after stripping for a couple of years because you have to take drugs to keep getting up there on that pole. Look, but it says time. So they want to keep that, the carrot being waved in front of you are the small percentage of people who do make it and their little story. It is a win-win for them, the ones who make it are, so I put, it's a win-win for the wicked people, the people who control those industries, who desire to control you, for Satan. It's a win-win for them, for the ones who make it are used to keep the deception going. It's like Lotto, you know. Lotto's investing for people who can't do math. You know what I'm saying? You see one person win, well, I could win, and you know, after your life, you done spend enough money on it to be a millionaire. Okay? I put, when people come to the dead end, as they always do, chasing after, trying to be a sports star, rappers, or trying to be a drug dealer. So when people come to the dead end of these career fields, they don't know what else to do with themselves. They don't know who they are. They don't, nothing. They just wasted their lives with a stupid dream. It says, it appears to be too late unless you get into the truth. So I put a verse here. Now this is showing you how powerful some of the stuff in Sirach is, or the book of Ecclesiasticus. Because what it says here, it says, a man of no understanding has vain and false hopes. That's all them people wanting to be rappers, wanting to be some type of athlete, wanting to be a stripper so she could be like Cardi B or whatever. All right? And dreams give wings to fools. As one who catches, it says, as one who catches at a shadow and pursues the wind, so is he who gives heed to dreams. So it's right there telling you, but a lot of people don't know about how powerful the book of Ecclesiasticus is and just getting your general mind right. But like I said, and I'm not saying, oh, don't rap. We got Hebrew rappers, but let me break this down. You see us you see Cardi B. She's so good at rap. Maybe she is. I don't know. I don't really follow. But there's good rappers out there. The music, we make good music. You watch the Super Bowl or whatever. We are good athletes. We're the best. But guess what? If you became a mechanic, you'd be the best mechanic. If you realize you were good at computer web design, you'd be the best computer web designer. My wife realized she liked sewing. She wanted the best sewing. They done featured her on some sewing magazines and stuff. So you gonna be the best. When you find out, most people ain't good at rapping. Because that's not what you're supposed to be doing. Like, I'm telling you, at one point when I was young, I wanted to be a rapper. We were recording, and I was about as good as, I was pathetic. I was like, my name is Mike. I like to hike. I got a bike. It's like, dude, that ain't you. But I'm a dang good mechanic. But most people don't realize what they're good at because, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. All right. So let me, so this is John chapter 10, verse 10. It says, the thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. And I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. So just in applying this to what I'm teaching, you know what I'm saying, is Satan deceiving people. Think like people can't step back. We got to begin to step back and see that you got to focus on the two worst careers you could go into, the two most powerless careers you could go into, an entertainer and a criminal. He trying to destroy you, and Yah is trying to wake you up, okay? All right, so I wrote here, have you wondered what the Indians and the Chinese people, and when the Indians, I'm talking about the East Indians over in India, you know, that live here in America, and the Middle Eastern people, and all these people were doing during the Super Bowl. What were we doing during the World Cup? Because they watch stuff like that. But I know all of us, all the brothers that I know, were like getting everything set up so they could watch the Super Bowl, which is a white man's culture. That's their thing. White folks invented, am I right? They invented the sports with the Olympics and all that crap.
That was the Greeks.
Yeah.
Gymnasium.
And can somebody come on here and tell me the usefulness of it? Because I'm going to show you why it's not useful. That guy, like I got a video from Ray Lewis. Could you imagine Ray Lewis as a warrior for our people? You imagine how scary that would be? Could you imagine who's the bad Michael Jordan? Imagine Michael Jordan on the battlefield. You know what I'm saying? These athletic people would be warriors. You know, our intellectual people, which would be probably a lot of the rappers, like a Biggie Smalls, he'd be some type of intellectual person or whatever. And think about all the people who never get to even realize what their talent is because they're chasing pipe dreams. Come out of this deception. We got to come out because, look, it ain't no time. Okay? All right. So what I put here, again, what would the spiritual diligence or faith of people like Abraham, King David, Moses, and even Yahushua look like today? Okay, so our great people that they've deceived into being entertainers or criminals, Freeway Ricky Ross or whatever, what would these people like? Well, we're gonna see. I got a video, so check this out. This is a good video. All right.
Greatness is not this wonderful, esoteric, elusive, God-like feature that only the special among us will ever taste. You know, it's something that truly exists in all of us. It's very simple. This is what I believe, and I'm willing to die for it. Yeah. Period.
The only thing that I see that is distinctly different about me is I'm not afraid to die on a treadmill. You might have more talent than me, you might be smarter than me, but if we get on the treadmill together, right, there's two things. You're getting off first, or I'm going to die. I've never really viewed myself as particularly talented. Where I excel is ridiculous, sickening work ethic. You know, while the other guy's sleeping, I'm working. While the other guy's eating, I'm working. I want my life, I want my work, my family, I want it to mean something. And it's like, it has, if you are not making someone else's life better, then you're wasting your time.
There's a certain delusional quality that all successful people have to have. You have to believe that something different than what has happened.
Confucius said, he who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right.
It takes such a desperate, obsessive focus. You really got to focus with all of your fiber and all of your heart and all of your creativity.
First step before anybody else in the world believes it is you have to believe it. There's no reason to have a plan B because it distracts from plan A.
You don't try to build a wall. You don't set out to build a wall. You don't say, I'm going to build the biggest, baddest, greatest wall that's ever been built. You don't start there. You say, I'm going to lay this brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid. Yeah. And you do that every single day. And soon you have a wall. And soon you have a wall.
The separation of talent and skill is one of the greatest misunderstood concepts for people who are trying to excel, who have dreams that want to do things. Talent you have naturally. Skill is only developed by hours and hours and hours of beating on your craft. There's no easy way around it. No matter how talented you are, your talent is going to fail you if you're not skilled.
I want to represent an idea. I want to represent.
All right, so what I'm trying to show you in that video is he serves Satan with that talent. And that's by design, because what if a person like that, with a mindset like that, was applying that to Yah's word? See, that's what's getting ready to come about. That's what's getting ready to happen. People are going to see the deception of this whole entertainment industry and turn back and focus on their people. Now, Hebrew, you said we just don't control it, talking about the sports. Okay, and you said you can raise up an army through football. Well, I could raise up an army through the word. I don't need football. I don't need some Greco-Roman devil's game to raise up the army, because we can ready to build it now. And you're going to be the general in it. And ain't nobody going to be running around with footballs. You see what I'm saying? We don't need nothing they got. It's pointless. And then just with football, you know these kids get concussions running. It's all perfectly designed to destroy us. These kids be running into each other, getting concussions with long-term effects. We don't need nothing they got. God didn't say, okay, it don't say, thus saith the Lord, you are going to form a football team and raise up an army. Nah. This word is going to wake our people up, because we ain't got time to be dicking around with their games.
And another thing is, returning back to the culture, every man that was 20 years was entered into the military until from 20 years to 50 years. That was the age of the fighting men.
Yeah.
And so that's whether you were Michael Jordan or Steve Urkel. You're 20 years old. You're a fighting man.
Yeah.
Okay, so that goes back to you talking about the feminization of our society, whereas if we separate from this society and return to our own culture, that masculinity is already set. That you being raised as a boy, as a child, you already know the expectation. When you hit 20, you need to have the skills to be used in military. So, whether it's using a sling in their time, using a sword, using a spear, those are the weapons that they use, a bow and arrow. In this time, using firearms and anything that concerns, using being knowledgeable about weaponry. That's why I know that you have that background, and that I came to you.
Yeah.
Because I know myself I'm lacking in that area.
Yeah.
And I don't have the experience in that area. So when I met you and I realized that you had that skill, I came to you and asked you about that.
And then the other thing is, we're not going to control that. Like, that whole thing, the whole reason Satan allowed that whole thing, because that's a football and these sports and all that, that's like Brother Anand said, that's a Greek concept, So they got control of it. I mean, all right, so what I got here, because this is after that Will Smith video, I have no problem trying to determine if he believes. Because what? You look at Will Smith's resume and it backs up his mindset. But like I said, a lot of Hebrews out there, a lot of people, it's all talk and you don't see any resume, you don't see any type of action backing up what they're saying or what they claim to believe. Everything Will Smith said on there, I know he believes it. Because I just look at his career and he's not just there because of luck. Okay? And that we need to adopt that mindset when it comes to Yah's word. All right? So let's make it real simple. Here's one about diligence. And again, it's athletes. These athletes could have been great warriors.
Right.
But they got sidetracked by the delusion of sports and entertainment. So they run up and down the court playing a kid's game.
Right. And look at Michael Jordan. Who does he reach in his community?
Yeah.
Who?
And
As a matter of fact, he invests in the prison.
I know.
All
right, so what we're going to do, we're going to watch, we got this video here. We're going to watch part of it.
There's not a person on my team in 16 years that has consistently beat me to the ball every play. That ain't got nothing to do with talent. That's just got everything to do with effort. Nothing else. 15 straight years. 12 Pro Bowls later, if you want numbers. I done saw all of it. And the only thing that's kept me around is my effort. So when you put on this, all I ever knew, because I wasn't a number one recruit, I wasn't a number one linebacker, I wasn't even in the media guy. All I ever knew was effort will get me seen on tape. Effort will get me noticed to get to the league. Effort would one day take care of my mom and my kids. Effort. Which is between you and you. Nobody else can give you effort. Effort is within inside, man. And I'm still grinding because the next kid is talking about he getting too old. Keep watching me if I am. Nobody ain't got to convince me of what I do. I do what I do because I do what I do, because I'm built from something. And man didn't create it. Every one of you men in here have that opportunity, man. But ask yourself the question personally, how much time you really wasting?
For real? Or do you really represent this? I represent it because it's all I had. It's the only brotherhood I ever been formed to. That's why when I see y'all perform on Saturdays, that is my peace. That's why I run to the hotels. I don't need to talk to nobody before my games. I just need to see what I once came from. I sat in these same chairs you guys sat in, man. I sat around the greatest athletes in the world. And then I found myself totally different because everybody was asking the question, who is this kid? I'm just sharing.
All right, so yeah, so like again, that was Ray Lewis talking in the background there, and again, sidetracked by sports. He could have been like, they know, man. These people know that these people could change the whole nation, wake all of our people up, but sidetracked by sports. And on the surface, oh yeah, you know, he does stuff in the neighborhoods. We in the worst condition we ever been in. Okay? So, I mean, again, this is part of the ploy. You getting all these people and sidetracking them into this pointless endeavor. All right? You had anything?
Well, you know, if you look at athletes like Muhammad Ali,
Yeah.
and you look at his interviews, you watch his interviews, his mind was so sharp.
Yeah.
And he was right on target, you know, yeah, on social issues. And you know, you imagine, you know, the things that, you know, he did try to do. Okay, of course, this society wouldn't allow him to do so much, but he's one of the few, I would say, that was conscious while, you know, doing what he was doing.
Okay, so all right, brother Debru, you had friends. Like, you're validating exactly what I'm saying. I'm gonna read what you wrote. He put, no, they wanted to live. I grew up in Liberty City. You die or sell dope. Sports are a way out. I got friends who played sports but are now teacher, lawyers, and own their own businesses. Look, I don't know, you missed what I said earlier. A couple people make it, but you got to look at the numbers. The masses don't. Okay? And by design, this system sets it up that way. Okay, I've talked about it before. Look, if you ever want to get a job quick and make 6 figures within a couple years, you could become a computer front-end designer. But they deliberately do not market that in our neighborhoods. Okay, you could become an auto mechanic and make money. You could become an NDI inspector, non-destructive inspections inspector, and make a ton of money. And I'm saying I got a unique view on all this stuff because I've seen where the schools, the magnet schools in the black neighborhoods, are marketing arts and like sports stuff. And then to the upscale schools, they're marketing computer stuff and all that. I'm telling you, it's bigger than what you're seeing. It's by design. Because they don't want you empowered in your right mind. And yeah, I can name a ton of athletes and stuff who've made it through. But then I can name millions who didn't. So I can name thousands of athletes who've come up from hard beginnings, because of course they market that to you, but they don't tell you about the hundreds of millions who went after and just never made it. And it don't got to be that way. It's just, you know what I'm saying? The book don't say sports is going to deliver us. It ain't nowhere in there. Yeah, the word is going to do that. When our people really start waking up, these these people, folks gonna stop playing sports, and this is coming. This is right around the corner. All this stuff it says, "Come out of her, my people." You know, don't partake in any of that Greco-Roman beast stuff. It's all a deception. You got to break your love to it. You know what I'm saying? All right. So this is the definition of diligent, and that's what Ray Lewis was talking about in there. But if we apply this diligence to God's word, it's going to make a difference. This is the definition. Constant in effort to accomplish something, attentive and persistent, done or pursued with persevering attention, painstaking. If we practice the diligence that we apply to their Roman Empire, if we turn that for a second and applied it to Yah's word, we'd instantly raise up our kingdom. They know this. That's why they dump so much money into the media programming us. Okay, Proverbs 14:23. It says, "In all labor there is profit, but the talk of the lips tendeth only to purity." So if you talking, ain't nothing gonna happen. But like I said, these athletes, these people that they've cleverly took, because like I watched, like they'll help somebody, like these other nations are quick to take recognition when they help some talented Hebrew. They'll take them, help them, feed them, raise them, because he got talent, and bring them all the way up and put them in front of you and say, "Hey, look what I did for little Jimmy." You know what I'm saying? You know, but they ain't talking about all the people who just destroy. They're not talking about that. Okay? It's like you gotta, all I'm saying is look at the numbers. I like, and you can, there's ways to reach our kids through the football, but I'm not building a Hebrew Israelite football camp. That's kind of taking a
roundabout way.
Yeah. A roundabout way, I feel like. Okay. All right. So what we have here is James chapter 2, verse 14. And the verse was so solid, I had to bring it back again. "What doeth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he have faith and have not works? Can faith save him?" It's about doing Yah's will with the passion that we're doing all these other things that we put in front of it. We kind of doing Yah's will like, oh yeah, it's the weekly social event, whatever. But we doing our work. We going to, we getting up early. We got our alarm set. We better be at work on time to get that check from Massa and all that stuff like that. We putting that at high priority. But when it comes to Yah's word, I could skip it. Yah understands. But your boss that you worship, you going to be right there for Massa because he good white folk. You know what I'm saying? So we got to get them priorities lined up. Wake up out of that spiritual laziness. So we got Ephesians chapter 5, verse 11 through 17. "And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them." Okay? "For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret." Okay? You got anything you want to bring out on that?
That's pretty much it. When you look at the whole doctrine of Yahushua and his disciples and the culture of his day, the disciples came out and created communities. They created communities where they could support each other. Their children were raised in that community. They had their families in that community. They separated themselves from the being infected of the evil that's in the world.
That's in the world.
Okay, not to say, of course, they were commissioned to go out and spread the good news of the kingdom to their people, but they themselves did not stay among those people. You know, basically the whole idea is, okay, you've heard the word, now it's your choice. You choose, come and join us.
And the thing is, people love their emotions. Yes. They don't love Yah's word. It's like the more of these current events, because look, if you want to ask me, the thing I was looking to put a ministry in that I love is drag racing. Real talk. But when I began to see what this system was and what it's doing and how insidious and how it's destroying our people, like, I'm looking for ways to separate myself further from it and build our people up. But I had to fall out of love with my emotions. You know, you got to break your addiction to this Greco-Roman beast European culture. Okay? That's what we have to do. All right, let me continue reading this. I think I'm almost, I'm getting near the end, but it says, but all things that are reproved and made manifest by the light, for whosoever doeth make manifest is light. Okay? And like I was saying, when the light was shed on this deceptive system, it's like you don't want to mess with it. Wherefore he said, awake thou that sleepeth, and arise from the dead, and Christ shall give thee light. See then that ye walk circumspectly. So aware, looking, being aware of all the stuff that's going on around you and the manipulation, because Satan is what? He's a deceiver. He's subtle. He works it in there. And then next thing you know, you realize you deceived. Not as fools, but as wise. It says, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Wherefore do ye not, it says, wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. And that's the whole drive behind this lesson is people need to know what Yah's will is. Okay? And Brother Dow said, we are still under the curse. Yes, we have to come out. Couldn't be said any better, Brother Dow. So I put here Ezekiel 2, chapter 4, verse 7. It says, this tripped me out. It says, for they, go ahead, brother. Now you can read. You the scholar up in there.
For they are impudent children and stiff-hearted.
Okay, and just to paint the context of this is God talking to his prophet, Ezekiel. And what tripped me out when I read this not too long ago is like, yo, this is the Most High telling this dude. And look at the number of times he tells him that our people are hard-headed. Mm-hmm. Yo, this got to tell you something. Right. Go ahead. Bring it up, bro.
I do send you unto them, and you shall say unto them, thus says Yahuwah Elohim. And they, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are a rebellious house, yet shall know that there has been a prophet among them. And you, son of man, be not afraid of them, neither be afraid of their words.
Turn the light.
Though briars and thorns be with you, and you do dwell among scorpions, do not be afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. And you shall speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious.
But if you read, because I just pulled that piece out to put in my presentation. But it tripped me out because if you read through that whole chapter, I mean, I was like, dang, he really going, like, we must really, 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 really be hard-headed. And I know in my life, here I am 40, getting ready to be 42, and I'm just now beginning. It took years of banging my head against the wall because we so hard-headed. Mm-hmm. So it took years of that for me to wake up. So this is real talk. But what tripped me out about this, because I never saw this till a couple months ago, is like, really let that sink in that this is God telling his prophet this. Like, that's what trips me out.
And we have, you know, unfortunately, we have Hebrews that have come into this walk knowing who our people are, and they, you know, go out and, you know, share the word with our people, and they become discouraged because our people are rejecting, you know, the message.
Yeah.
And this is what Yahuwah is telling Ezekiel. Whether they hear or whether they forbear, whether they listen or not, this is the message you're supposed to tell the people, and it's not changed. This is the message that's for our people. So, you know, you have certain people that, you know, they stopped going out to our people, and then they started teaching foreigners. That's not how it's supposed to be. The message is for our people. Whether they listen to you or whether they don't, it's still for our people.
Yeah. I mean, that's on point, man. Because that's what I need. Like, that goes along with that thing with a fool. It's like, just getting that understanding, and then what you just said just now is going to help me and so many other people alleviate so much stress. Mm-hmm. It's like, look, I'm going to tell it to you. I'm going to tell it to you from the bottom of my heart. And then, you know, you don't have to stress yourself out. Because Yah's not the author of confusion. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, bro. All right. So what I put here is, it's not magic. It's not some complicated, hairy-fairy thing. This thing is pretty straightforward. Where people get hung up at is they get hung up with their emotions. People don't realize that it's a fight, it's a battle with your emotions. That's where the war is at. Okay? It's with your emotions. That's where it's all at. So this is a scripture to dwell on, is Ephesians chapter 6, verse 11 through 18. It says, put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. What did I just say? I said, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto ye the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day. And having done all to stand, and having done all to stand. It says, stand therefore, having your loins girded about with the truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Wait, I'm going to wait for that to go off the screen real quick so I can read it. Whoops. Here we go. There we go. Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. So supplication is earnestly, desperately, sincerely begging. Okay? So it says praying always with all prayer and supplication.
And
okay?
There are a lot of things that we don't realize, especially those of us that come out of the Christian church, because basically the Christian church teaches us that anything goes. Just whatever you feel like, that's what you do. But a lot of the things that, because we read in Ephesians talking about these spiritual powers, these authorities and principalities in high places. A lot of the things that Yahuwah asks us to do have implications in the spiritual world. So whether it's the way that we dress, the things that he tells us to do, we have prayer times and things of that nature. We have our feast days that are at certain times. There are certain, they affect things that go on in the spiritual realm. So when we are disobedient, for example, just use the example of the fringes. When we are disobedient, we don't really realize what that disobedience is, how it's manifesting in the spiritual world. And we're dealing with these struggles, and we don't understand that just simply obeying, not knowing what's the effect, but simply obeying, just like if you have a child and you're 1-year-old, 2-year-old, always wanting to put her finger in the electric socket. You're not going to explain to that child how electrons work and all this kind of stuff. You're just going to say, don't put your finger there.
Don't do it.
So it's the same thing with us. Yahuwah tells us to do certain things. He doesn't really give the explanation of
and certain things he will explain. And then other things, as you grow, you begin to realize,
that's why I shouldn't put my finger in the sink.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we even got the issue about women wearing head covers. It wasn't until I sent you that one video of that Muslim guy talking about evil spirits falling in love with women and that whole thing, and then I watched that. Then I went back to the Bible, and it's in the Bible. About how these angels were lusting after the women. So it's like we really don't understand why it tells us to do certain things, but there are reasons.
Yep. And what we got here is 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3 through 5. It says, "For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty to God, to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity," that's why I put this in there, "into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ." Okay? This is a big thing, is you see this rampant with everybody, is you could tell they're not wrestling them emotional thoughts. Okay?
Exactly.
So that's big. I put Philippians chapter 4 verse 6. "Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto Yah." So again, what I've been saying is prayer, fasting, and seeking the Lord. And seeking the Lord is searching his word. Searching. If you get under a good teacher, get under a good teacher so you could seek him out and get understanding. Prayer, fast, seek the Lord. That's how you get these, if you're demonically possessed or oppressed, that's how you get that thing out of you. Okay? Because we are at war and there ain't no rules. The deception is heavy. Okay? We're in a nation known for deception. And we're captive in a nation known for deception. If you don't believe it, just read history. They'll teach. Matter of fact, they're going to teach it to you in high school. Okay? All right. So let's see. We got Matthew chapter 7, verse 7 through 8. "Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that seeketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knock it shall be open. This ain't no super esoteric spiritual freak show thing. Literally do that. To make things happen, you gotta do something. Okay? So seek his word. Brother Adnan, you got anything else? Because that's the end of the slides there.
Yeah, just, exactly what you said, especially the one before, talking about bringing every thought into captivity to obedience of Mashiach. That is a big one. That's where the main battle is that all your previous conceptions of life, all your worldview, all your paradigms, coming out of this culture into the Torah, you have to tear it down one by one by one by one.
Yep.
And it's not easy.
It ain't. It's painful, but going through that pain makes you more spiritually strong. It's like lifting spiritual weights. You know what I'm saying? It hurts breaking that muscle down, but it builds strength. But yeah, that concludes the lesson, spiritual laziness.